This is happiness, to be everything at once. Be unblinded, be unlearned, be unbridled and unburned.
Hey everyone, and welcome back to a brand new episode of Mood Prep. My name is Dave Nixon, and today I want to let you in a little secret that no one cares. Well, it's interesting. It's like after yesterday telling people not to agree with me, and today I'm like, no one cares. It's sort of like trying to be negative or something, or provocative or something, and it's not. It's not the truth at all. It's more so the fact that I want to be able to point at some of the things that maybe we avoid talking about for whatever reason, and maybe I avoided a good chunk of my 20s not talking about it, but I always wanted people to care, and especially if you find yourself ever being like, oh, I don't care. It's like, yeah, why are you telling me you don't care? Like, you can hear it in the tone of somebody's voice whether they really actually do give a shit or not. And those of you who have probably read Mr. Mark Manson's book, The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck. And I mean, if you haven't read that, you could read it, or you could just read his article, his blog, which of the same title, which kind of just brings it back into like a simpler reading, shorter reading anyway. It's the same thing, but it's a good premise, but it talks about effectively caring. The fucks just means cares, really. But one of the biggest things is that we often get caught up in this idea that no one cares, that what we do doesn't matter, or something along those lines. And it's like, we have two choices how we want to look at this. Well, it's one choice, but two avenues of how we want to look at this. And one of them is no one cares, and that sucks, and that means that life is meaningless. I become nihilistic, and no one really gives a shit about this, and what's the point anyway? And fair enough. I think that's a legitimate way to look at it. The other is no one cares, which means I now have the freedom to be able to do what I want to do without the concern of what other people may think, or without the concern of what they're going to do or say or be judged or whatever the case might be. Because the reality is you're going to get judged anyway. It doesn't matter what you do, you're going to get judged. No matter what. And I'm going to expand that on two different ways, right? One is the fact that if I'm like, hey, that's a really shit sweater, you're like, that's pretty judgy, dude. You shouldn't be so judgy. But if I was like, hey, that's a really nice sweater, you're like, hey, thanks for the compliment. They're both judgments, man. They're both just subjective judgments. But because one doesn't hurt my feelings, I allow it to be a compliment rather than a form of judgment. But it is a form of judgment. So when we understand that no matter what we do in life, we're going to get judged. We can't keep everyone happy. Every single human being has their own human conditions unfolding as they understand it, and then they lay that over your own decisions. It's like, come on, man and woman, everyone. You're going to get judged, and that's okay. The thing is that do you allow that person's opinion to have more weight in your life than your own opinion? And that's a really powerful thing to understand, because when we get caught up in the drama of needing other people's approval to do things without realizing, a lot of the time we don't realize that's what's stopping us. I speak to people and they're like, oh, I don't know what I want to do, without stepping on toes. It's like, so you do know what you want to do, but you're putting these conditions on what it is you want to do. And a lot of the time it's because of, sure, childhood patterns that teach us how to behave in particular ways to be able to not piss people off, because then if we don't piss people off, we feel good for that. But in the short term, because in the long run, it means we don't pursue the things that are really meaningful for us. And if we don't pursue the things that are really meaningful for us, in sacrifice, imagine this. Let me paint a picture for you. You'll see exactly what I'm getting at. Imagine if we choose not to chase the things that are meaningful to us based on not pissing one of our parents off. Let's just say the father for the sake of it, right? We always seek the approval from the masculine. So let's say that we are not delivering our life to the thing that really is important to us. And subconsciously it's because our father will judge us and say that we need to get a real job. And also, like, he will, effectively we're concerned that he might disown us, right? Based upon probably conversations that had when they were younger, and they've just manifested in meaning worse things as we got older, right? And so we don't actually end up doing what it is that we wanted to do. And your father kicks it till he's like 85, right? And he's on his deathbed. He's 85. You're in your late 50s. And you're there with him, and you love him, but you ended up working a job you didn't want and almost ended up being with a person you didn't want because during that whole period of your life, you were wanting your father's approval on every fucking thing that you did, right? Sometimes you stood up for yourself, but otherwise, you know, you were wanting approval. And he gets to his deathbed and he goes, I fucked up. He's like, I was so busy trying to fix everyone else's shit and telling everyone else how to live, I never actually lived my own life. I was so busy concerned that if I didn't have the answers for you kids, that you kids wouldn't see a need for me, and I'm sorry for that. Imagine that. Imagine getting 50 fucking years through your life, in your late 50s, and your dad goes, I'm sorry because I was so busy projecting my shit onto you. What are you going to do then? You're like, oh, now I can go pursue the thing that I wanted to do? It's not somebody else's job to see your vision. It's your job to see your vision, and it's your job to act it out. Because the reality is that you don't need other people to believe in you. You need to believe in you. You need to learn how to bake your cake that's meaningful for you. And if other people approve of that and like that, then they're just sprinkles. They're just fucking sprinkles, right? But you got to learn to bake your own cake. You got to learn to be able to pursue the things that are meaningful to you. And if that means that some people aren't going to agree with you, but that doesn't matter. I know that's really challenging for a lot of people to grasp because maybe you're thinking of your spouse, maybe you're thinking of your children, maybe you're thinking of your parents, maybe you're thinking of your current boss. It's like, who do you think that person, it's usually one person, right? Who do you think they're showing up as in your life? Who do you think they're representing as? I don't know the answer to the question. It's a legitimate question that I only want you to figure out for yourself. Because your issue isn't necessarily with them, it's what they mean to you, right? And what it means, deep down, what it means for you if you decide to go out on your own, that's how you may language it, and then they end up saying that, you know, get a real job or this or that or whatever the case might be, and therefore you won't be part of a family, then who will you be because that's a part of your identity, so on and so on and so on and so forth. And it's not about saying fuck everyone and just doing your thing. It's not that necessarily. But when we understand that no one cares, they care how it affects them. Think about that. And this is quite a global term, and I think there's exceptions to these rules, yes. But no one cares, they just care how it affects them. And think about that on a deep level. Because the people that do care, don't care. People that really care about you, they're like happy for you to do what you need to do. Even if they end up losing something along the way. Now there's, once again, exceptions to that rule, but play along with me, you understand where I'm getting at. So what we need to really unfold and unravel and unpack here is exactly, what are you afraid of? Because if no one cares, that's freedom. That's liberation. That's permission to do the things that you, if you're willing to give yourself that permission, it's the permission to do the things in life that you truly fucking want to do. And learning how to unfold that and unpack that for you. And so you've got decisions that you need to make in relation to that and seeing how that's going to impact and affect not just your life, but the lives of the people that are looking at you and watching you. Because a lot of the time, if you're in a family of, let's say, 5 or 6, and most of them are against the things that you want to do, right? Sometimes it's not because you're doing it, sometimes it's because they're not doing it. And if you break through that, the conversations on the other side of that can sometimes be, I didn't think you'd pull it off, but are you able to show me how I can do it? Maybe they will, maybe they won't. That's I don't know. But what I do know is that if you never break through that bullshit, they never will. And you can never get your family out of that fucking hole, let alone yourself. Team, that's it. I'm out. Thank you very much for tuning in today. As always, if you found this podcast beneficial, it would mean the world to me if you'd pass it on to someone else that you think would also find it beneficial. I want to thank whoever shared my episode 12 podcast. I've seen that just got a spike in the last couple of days. You Are Not Your Body. For those of you who haven't heard that, definitely go back and check it out. It's episode number 12. You can find it on the Podbean app or on the Podbean website. The episode is You Are Not Your Body, which is interesting. Maybe I should reflect on that. Reflect? Good English. Reflect back on that. If you want me to dig that out again and pull it apart again a bit more, then get in touch with me. I'd love to hear from you anyway. So if that was you that shared that, thank you so much. If you haven't already, check out Mood Prep online at davenixon.com.au/memberships. And also check out the Coaches Circle if you're a PT, a coach, or an athlete and you want to get to that next step and next level in your career, in your mental capacity, in your performance, in your potential. I'd love to chat to you. Team, that's it. I'm out. Thank you very much for tuning in. Until tomorrow, peace and pizza. Keep the day in the dick. Slay the dragon. I'll see you soon.